listening to the Shed Talk podcast, where we discuss topics on business, leadership, fitness, and community to help you all learn and grow in all areas of life. This is your host, AJ Raber. Welcome in.
All right, first of all, Ben, thank you so much. This has been a huge goal of mine, so I'm excited to dive into this. One of the big reasons why I'm excited for this is when I started the podcast, the three foundational things that I wanted to talk about were faith, fitness, and business. And actually, so your name was on a whiteboard in my bedroom.
Sick.
Of a goal. Because it's cool that you were part of Clemson. That's awesome. And I want to dive into that. But that's not the reason that you were on my whiteboard. It's because you have that background in fitness. You're spoken your faith following that, and you're an entrepreneur. It's not easy right now. Sure. So I think it's really cool. Even though I don't want to spend most of our time on Clemson, I do want to talk about it a little bit, because what a cool background. Not many people get to have that background. So looking back on that, if you could choose one word to define your time at Clemson, what would that be? Hey, just putting you in the spot in the start.
That's one of the questions you probably should have let me know before we talked.
Yeah. Or just, if you don't have a word for that, looking back on it, how thankful are you? Or what's a sentence that defines that for you right now?
I think I'll speak on a moment that was really cool at my time at Clemson that probably people don't know a lot about. My sophomore year, I tried to quit. I tried to hang up the cleats. My DC and linebacker coach, Coach Venables, who is at Oklahoma now at the head job, was so tough on me. And for probably a multitude of reasons. Main one is I'm an 18-year-old dude that just sucks and thinks that I know it all. Mostly those are the reasons, but also I think he sees and saw a lot of things like himself in me, and he was super tough. So freshman and sophomore year, I got dug into about every single day.
More than others, or was everybody?
More than others, and I've talked about this a couple times, not a lot, but if you ask him, I've heard him tell other people that he was tougher on me than anybody he's coached. So if you get his number or shoot him a message,
we're friends.
Yeah, we are boys. I'm hoping he would, not hoping, that's probably, because if not, then someone else has got dogged out. But he was super tough on me. And he can obviously speak on more than I can, the reasons why. But sophomore year, it just hit ahead. And I talked to my parents. I was like, hey, I'm quitting. My dad owns a concrete company. I was like, I'm dropping out. I'm going to work for the family business. And they're like, are you sure? Because this concrete business ain't no joke. And I was like, hey, it is better than getting cussed out by Coach V every day. And we were going into the Louisville week, my sophomore year. It was a Monday. We're going through walkthroughs. I got in with the ones for one rep and didn't even snap the ball because I called the front the wrong way. Because just was, obviously, I'm getting a chance with the ones. I'm 20, 19, whatever, super nervous. Left. And that thing was supposed to be right. And he blows the whistle and just rips into me. Pulls me out in front of the whole team. So obviously pretty embarrassing. And this is that's happened every single day. And I already knew that I wanted to quit. So that happened. I'm like, all right, I'm gonzo. And we talked after practice. And I was like, dude, I'm done. I hate you. I hate football. I don't want to play anymore. I'm hanging the cleats up. And he started laughing at me. I'm crying. And he literally starts laughing hysterically. And I'm like, see, you're evil. And he's like, dude, you're not quitting. And I'm like, I am. I've already talked to my parents. They have my job application for American Concrete. I'm starting tomorrow. And we ended up talking for an hour. I had a good conversation. He ends up giving me a pity start against Louisville my sophomore year, and I played well. So from a confidence standpoint, that was really, really big for me because we can played a home game against a school like Louisville who's not garbage, and I could have a really good game. So confidence-wise, it just was massive because I was in a season where I had none from a football standpoint. And then I start splitting time going through my sophomore year because the senior I was going against, Tony Stewart, so he comes in as a 5-star linebacker, freaking great dude, has dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career, and we were just battling back and forth. And we kept splitting time. I'm still pissed about it because I think I should be starting, but he was a senior and he just knew the playbook a lot better than I did. And then going into the bowl game, Stephon Anthony, our starting Mike, got ejected when we played USC at home for targeting. And I was the third backer. And so that opened a spot at Mike playing against Oklahoma in the Russell Athletic Bowl. So I started that game with Tony.
And this is that same year, right?
Yeah, sophomore year. And I had a pick 6 in the game. So, and we freaking smoked Oklahoma. Everyone was out by halftime because we just dog smacked them. And I had a good game again. So confidence-wise, after I tried to quit, skyrocketed for me. It was good to see that, okay, I'm not wasting my time. I actually can play at this level. And when I prepare at a really, really high level, regardless if I'm freaking looking you eye to eye, because I'm a normal white dude, short arms, short legs. I'm freaking, in college, I was going bald. I'm bald now. So just dude, look like a sack of potatoes out there against giants. And didn't matter because, hey, I realized I'm not physically just the best, but I know if I can take control of these other areas, it will kind of offset each other. And learning that my sophomore year was really good for me. Going into my junior year where I finally got the opportunity to play, and we ended up losing to Alabama in the Natty in Arizona. We were undefeated. I had 150 tackles my junior year. I didn't have a perfect year by any means, but it was again just affirmation. Okay, I belong here. So.
Two things with that. That's one of the reasons why I love Baker Mayfield. When Baker, not that I'm from Ohio, Summit Brown. He's not the most athletic guy out there, but he had heart, and that's why people like me loved him.
1,000%. Yeah. And it's tough. The NFL's tough. I'll talk on both of our experiences. He's obviously still a dude and still playing. It's been a pretty up and down for him, but he obviously has talent. He's not some freaking trash athlete. He may be small in stature, but he's got some dog in him, and regardless if you're some freak athlete, you can go wherever. But if you are limited in some areas, you really got to find a good fit. And I don't think that a lot of reasons that I didn't have a long NFL career or anything at all. I didn't have one at all. I think that if I would have picked a better location and a better fit for me, I feel like I would have. Maybe, who knows? But could still be playing. I feel like I wasn't a trash football player, but I wasn't good enough where I could go wherever. I had to go to a perfect fit where I could excel. And I don't think I did that in Carolina. I went to Carolina because we just won the Natty. Charlotte's super close to Clemson. Hey, if anything, Rivera will keep me because it's good for marketing, hometown dude, and buy your fire. So they didn't care about that. But we had just some dogs in the linebacker room. We had, multiple first-round draft picks, and there wasn't much wiggle room in that locker room. So I probably shouldn't have went to Carolina. But I just, again, me being 21, thinking that I'm a know-it-all and that they'll keep me, that didn't happen. So, Baker, dude, freaking elite. Super normal guy. he was like 50 plus million in the bank, showing up in a freaking 08 Tahoe with rainbow sandals on, these shorts that are freaking below the knee, and a white t-shirt with a pencil in his ear with a freaking notebook.
Ready to go to work.
Dude, ready to tear dudes up. So super normal bro type. And was awesome. Like I was there for a couple months, but he was awesome for me. He was the first dude that texted me after I signed and stayed with me multiple nights to watch film. And I'm just a random, undrafted guy, one of the million that he's had a experience with, and he still did it. So that was cool. I'll never say anything bad about him. He's good people, and was a freak athlete. I think that's why he is top 3 backers of all time, because he's 6'3", he's 240, he runs a 4.4, and he's also a genius.
And humble.
And just a bro.
Yeah.
So super cool dude. And so back on the Baker statement, I think he has been up and down because I don't think that he's found a perfect fit for him. I don't know what that means because I'm not a quarterback and I don't know what his perfect fit is. But I mean, we all saw what he did at Oklahoma. So they find a NFL team that does stuff like that, or a quarterback, or a coach that does stuff like that, or let him just be who he was there, and I think he would excel. But
I actually thought he found it for a little bit in Cleveland because he had the running game. He was able to swing a lot. But yeah, now we have your fellow teammate.
He's at the Rams, right?
Deshaun. Oh yeah, Baker went to the Rams. Yeah.
And Deshaun is with the Browns.
Yeah.
I know he got y'all a dub
Against the Texans.
And he got on Thursday or Friday. When was it?
And we just got one on Saturday against the Ravens, I think it was.
I'm waiting for him to have he hadn't really had a just balled out game yet, but patience.
Yeah. Were y'all pretty close?
So Deshaun was a super quiet dude. Mm-hmm. And me and him were the leaders from an offensive and defensive standpoint. Me and him were the guys my senior year. And dude was just super quiet. He led by how he played and how he acted on the field. But he didn't really, he hung out with Artavius Scott, who I think is a coach at Clemson now. They were roommates, and yeah, they didn't do, we weren't best friends at Clemson. We weren't going to dinner every night, but he was super quiet. I didn't see him out a lot. He just did his own thing and played ball. So, yeah.
Well, last thing about Clemson, because I got a lot to talk about. Tell me about that smackdown against Ohio State, 42-0. So I remember I was the outspoken Ohio State fan.
The worst.
Yeah.
Almost as bad as an outspoken USC fan.
Well, yeah, they had their year this year.
They did.
But it was bad enough that I actually had to work that night, so I was watching at the restaurant I was working at. Tough. The South Carolina high school football Twitter page, the official page, tweeted at me on Twitter and asked me how I was enjoying my evening. It was that. Yes. Yeah. So that's one of the games that would have watched you the most because I didn't follow Clemson that much. How big was it leading up to playing Urban Meyer and that team right there?
So we had. I think that one was in Phoenix as well, where we lost Alabama the year before. And that was the first bowl game going into that playoff. So we had a lot of time to prepare. And if you give Coach Venables any time more than a week to prepare, it's going to be bad most times just because he is elite and super smart and scheme-wise just knows where to put his people. So we had a lot of time to prepare for Ohio State, and y'all had dogs. Y'all obviously were a good team, but we were just firing on all cylinders. And it was a weird game because I feel like we're playing against the Citadel right now. Y'all just were doing nothing right. We're playing soft, and just seemed like they didn't want to be there, which is sick for us. We're hey, this is easy.
Let's take advantage of it.
But yeah, it was kind of a boring night. I didn't really have, I had a clean game, graded out well. I didn't have any big plays because everyone else was just doing their job. So it's like the easiest bowl game we've ever played in, honestly. It was weird.
Yeah, that was a hard night for me, but glad it worked out well for you. Transitioning from there, when you were at Clemson, did you already know what you wanted to do? Did you have vision for the Junkyard? Or like when you graduated, how did that transition?
So going into Clemson, like many athletes, yeah, dude, I'm going to play 15 years in the league. And I think Sweeney does a good job of like, yo, guys, like y'all probably aren't. There's going to be probably 4 of you that play more than a couple of years. And even now, more so than back then, like they are crushing it from like setting their guys up for success after ball.
So you're a part of that, aren't you?
So I've done a couple of things with that Sauce Paul journey. And it's great. And it was just starting when I was there, and it's not where it is today. But he still preached like, guys, like y'all better figure out a plan B because you could be an All-American here and win every award. You still may not make it to the next level. So you better be ready. And I think by my sophomore and junior year, I started listening more because I knew I was a good player, but also I was like, it might not work out, you know, and I was okay with that. So I started figuring out that I just like knew in the back of my mind, I ain't pretty, I ain't the biggest guy, I'm not the smartest, but I know I can play football and I know how to work out. Those are the kind of 2 things I got going for me. So when that door closed, I'm going to pursue this fitness standpoint. I enjoy working out and it helps me not be fat. I'm naturally, since the race at the end of October, I'm like 250 right now. So I naturally
15 or 50?
50. And I naturally just put on the LBs. And I can hide it pretty well. I don't know why. I'm just a dense dude. But if I don't work out, I ain't small. I get thick. So me owning a gym, I knew that this is going to, if anything, it will force me to stay in shape. And I enjoy it as well. So started just like not entertaining it a lot because I was just super focused with football. But when I got fired by the Panthers, I was like, okay, this may not work out. And I knew it's not dying, but like the big box gym, Planet Fitness, Golds, like people obviously still go to those things, but people want like a community, and the world being so fast paced as it is, you have to have like an efficient workout. So something like quick and something class based. So that category of gym has consistently, really like in 17 and 18 was booming. And I'm like, that's the industry is blowing up and I don't have the bread to drop $500,000 on all this equipment because it's so expensive. And that's the main thing that kind of shifted our focus to something class-based was when I started researching how expensive equipment was. And I did well from like signing bonus, specifically marketing stuff, like did really well for me after we won the Natty to when I got fired by the 49ers and did solid, but still not enough to like fund a Golds. So that shifted focus to doing something class-based, and me and Marcus were training together. My door for the NFL was cracked. His buddies didn't even open up. He played at Newberry and was a good athlete at Newberry, and then did his grad year at Clemson. And buddy's got 2 bad knees and killed it for him. So he was training with me, and he went to Newberry for nursing. Wow. And if you know Marcus Brown, he is not a nurse. I don't know why he went to school for nursing, because that is not him. And I created like the idea, wanting to do it to like this music software. I'm like, dude, you want to do this with me? I need help. And he was like, I do not want to be a nurse. Come on. And then here we are today. Long story short.
After seeing what my wife went through as a nurse, you don't fake being a nurse. Like you don't.
You gotta be bought in. You gotta care about it, you know?
Yeah, it's not worth it if you don't like it. All right, so tell me a little bit about the actual Junkyard. Like how that vision came to life after you talked to Marcus, and now that you're on your fourth one about to open and looking to even grow.
So the 3 things that separate our studio from others would be the format of the workout, the music technology we created, and the coaching. And I'll hit on each one of those. So the format, the way we created the format, so it's run, ride, row, rage. Rage is just lifting weights, but it's 4 R's, so it's smooth from a marketing standpoint. So we did a bunch of market research. We tried every HIIT studio we could find. We went to Charlotte, went to Nashville, went to Atlanta, and did everything. And kind of like pieced things together that we really liked. And there's none that do all 4. Some of our competitors will do the run and the row and will lift. Some of them will do only cycling. Some of them will row and lift, but none do all 4. So we feel like from a fitness standpoint, the run, ride, row, and the functional lifting covers your basis from a fitness standpoint. We don't do anything with a barbell. We're not CrossFit. There's a million benefits to doing barbell work. There's also a million negatives. Like anything, it's just like, someone can find a negative to using a dumbbell. So that's just like, it's obviously my opinion, but we did so much barbell work at Clemson that it freaking just stoned me. I got the weakest wrist in the world because we did hang clean bench and accessory work. And then the other day we would do freaking power clean, squat, and accessory work every day. And my wrists are super stiff. And
were you a strong power cleaner?
I was super average. Like I wasn't weak, but you see these dudes nowadays, like Jamie Skowski, we're like the exact same body, and he is so much stronger than me, it pissed me off. But I was like, I think I benched like 340, and then I had like a 540 squat. So it's not garbage, but you compare it to some of those guys' numbers up there, and they would I was a fart in the wind compared to some of those guys. But we decided not to do any barbells because I felt like it limited us from a people standpoint. Like not everyone wants to do barbell work. Like you got to know how to use a barbell. So we decided to not do any barbell stuff. So from a format, first reason why we're different, we are the only studio that offers all 4. The music technology. So we thought about this. Me and Marcus got into cycling while we were training for football because it was just a good way for us to just mix up our football training. And we rode with this guy named Ladd. Dude's like 55 years old, the most dad-looking guy you will ever meet. And he would smoke us. Has bike legs like a mother. And challenged us a lot from a fitness standpoint, specifically biking, because he dogged us out every time we rode. We did a 20-mile ride one random day in 2017 with no music at all. And it sucked. It was so boring. We just got our freaking tails whooped by this old man. And we're like, all right, let's run it back, but let me put some freaking Tupac in. Like, let me put some Jeezy. Yeah. And we did the first ride, 20 miles in like an hour. The next day with music, we did the same distance in like 40 minutes. So just adding some trap music onto the ride literally increased our like exercise data. And that's common knowledge. Like we all know that the majority of the world listens to music when they work out. You get some freaking meatheads that just go in there with nothing. And that's just kind of weird and probably boring. There's a scientific study that I use when we're trying to work with companies that a university did that like showed from a scientific standpoint that like faster paced music actually, there's a correlation that it like improves your workout. And that's common knowledge, but they actually tied it all together. So, all right, that makes sense. So how can we do the workouts to music and then not be like kind of girly, like not step class, like we're doing like Tabata. And I thought of the idea of like the Guitar Hero and how the beats go down the screen. Like how can we create our own like little like workout Guitar Hero? That's what it was called initially, Junkyard Guitar Hero. That's like the code on my laptop. So it's like, the code's only on my laptop. I'm the only one that have it. And the code's called the Junkyard Guitar Hero. And we met with a coding guy, it was a buddy of mine at Clemson, and told him like the idea that we had and like putting beats to like colored beats based off of the like BPM of like an actual music track. Yeah. Oh, easy, blah, 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 blah. Made the code within like a month. Wow. And we paid him and we got it patented. So
it is patented?
We're patented, yeah.
Nice.
So we have a patent on it. And so that's the second reason why we're unique. Yeah. You won't find that anywhere else, or I'll sue them because we were patented. And the third reason that we're different, and like we wanted like to find like where we could be different and create our own market was the coaching. So when we did all this market research and tried all these studios, we're like, dude, these coaches suck. They don't push you. They don't call you by your name, and they're just checking a box. Yeah. And I had an eye for that because I had a guy like Coach Venables in my life who, bro, elevated everyone that he encountered. Yeah. So I knew there wasn't any studio that was like coaching like a football coach, you know? Because there's just like everyone's corporate and they have all this legality, they don't want to hurt anybody, and we're not going to hurt anybody, but we push people. And we push people based on where they're at. So we have this like, people around the area know like, oh, the Junkyard's hard. And it is hard, but like, that's why you pay what you pay, because you want to experience, if you want to experience fruit, hey, you got to dig, like, you got to work, you know? And that's what we're here for, where you don't have to think. We'll have the workout plan for you, and we'll actually get you out your comfort zone, you know? So our coaches, like the training process is very, very detailed and thorough and kind of takes a little bit, because regardless if you have 3 people in here or 48, we expect every single person in class to be individually coached. So that like matters to me, the integrity of our coaching. And that's like a challenge in business and really anything, is like figuring out what matters to you, but then also figuring out how to measure it. If you can figure out how to matter what measures, you're pretty good.
All right, say that again.
So for there's a lot of reasons why like we have a good business and it's unique. The coaching is a big piece of that puzzle. And as we grow, I'm not able to be in Greenville or Clemson or Malden every single day. And we wanted to figure out how we can measure the like integrity of the coaching and to continue to elevate it. So essentially like measuring what matters. The coaching matters to me. So I went, okay, how can we create like a process to continue to make it better? So we created head coaches. So we have around almost 30 coaches on our team. We have 6 head coaches. Those head coaches drive around to each location every month and do 2 coach reviews on every coach unannounced. Wow. And one of those coaching measures, so there's like 20 questions, like based off like for the head coach to fill out. One of those, or 2 of those, there's like 20, so 2 of the 20. First one is, did the coach call out every client by name? Rate blank out of class size. Because you can't coach at a high level if you don't call a person by their name. You know, you can't tell me to, hey, Ben, grab that 30-pound dumbbell or press 12 if you don't know my name's Ben, you know? So we grade how many names are called out in class. I don't care if it's 3 or 36. If you got 36, rate blank out of 36. And if there's not 36, hey, they called out 34 out of 36. AJ and freaking Billy Bob didn't get their name called out. Call them out by name next time you see them. because the head coach will go over it with them after class and send it to them. The second grading measure that we created that allows us to measure what matters is, did they individually coach, which is an acronym, the whole class. So coach is call out and call hire. So we're like really, really big on names, and we told our team that, and they just, okay, we just got to call out people's name, and we'll be good. So just go, good job, Ben, good job, Mary, good job, Marcus. Like, you're just being a cheerleader now. You got to call out, but also call higher. So Ben, 12. Mary, nope, I need you under 140. So our coaching in the beginning was us just being like cheerleaders and like bringing energy. And we've shifted that focus. Like, dude, I don't want a cheerleader. Like, we obviously want you to bring energy, but you'll come to a class and like the energy will be good and it'll be loud and a cool environment. But you'll notice that our coaches are called a name, called a number, called a name, called a number. That's really all we do. And we'll fix technique and all that stuff, but literally call out and call higher. That's all we want our coaches to do. And I realized that no one else was doing that. And they just rainbows and daisies and, oh, you're beautiful and everyone wins. No, like, people don't want that. They don't want to be told good job when they're not doing a good job. If I know that you can be at 6 miles per hour and you're not, we have videos of us pressing people's treadmill. And obviously, if someone can't do that, I'm not gonna hurt them. But if I've seen you running at 6 and you're still cruising, you come in the next day, you're a 4, I'm going to press you 6. And I think we've done it long enough where people just know what to expect when they walk in the door. Like, okay, I'm about to get my face melted off. So those 3 areas are what we felt like was missing in this industry. So we did it. And it's worked. And
if somebody doesn't want their name called out, they can go to Planet Fitness.
Hey, yeah, if you don't want to be pushed, don't come. You won't fit in, you won't enjoy it because we're going to push you. But yeah, if you want to live an average life and be just an average person, that's fine. Go somewhere else and you can do it on your own terms. If you come here, like, you will be pushed, but we're pushing you because we want you to experience fruit from obviously a physical standpoint, but I think the community in here is really, really tight as well. So from like a mental and emotional standpoint, you build these relationships where you may hate me, you may hate the workout, but like, dang it, I got 7 friends there now. I'm gonna come back in another month, you know? So if you don't want that, hey, you won't fit in, you'll hate your life and you'll be miserable, so don't come. But if you do want that, this is a place where you should be.
I was just a shout out Will Brown. You know Will Brown. I was talking to him on the way here, and he said one time, just because he knew you did this, he came to one of your classes, and he's in shape, works out, played at Clemson, super fit. And he said it kicked his butt.
Yeah, it's and you can come in here because it's like, you can come here and cruise. Like, we can't force you to do anything. I'm not like freaking like make you grab a 60 and you're like, I can't do that. But like, so you can come here and check a box. That's what you want. You, again, like, you won't come for long because after a while you will continue to get pushed. But you get a person like Will who like, hey, we don't have to really say anything. Will's gonna come here and just get after it. And that's what helped. We don't have to probably even say anything to a Will Brown. The freaking, hey, we're playing Pop Smoke and the Baby. Like, you're just naturally gonna get after it because it's loud and there's just good energy. And that's where like that study comes into play. We're like, we don't have to coach you at all. The music and the energy will just take care of it, you know? So yeah, I remember the class he came, Balin Spector. So that's also, so Balin threw up over that railing, who plays linebacker with the Bills right now, obviously super fit guy, who got drafted last year. He came to a class and puked everywhere. I have a picture to show that. Christian Wilkins came to a class. And when I tell you, he dogged it out. He's 6'5", 315, was running at 12 miles per hour. And he was tired and he sweated, but he tore up the workout. That pissed me off because he's a big dude and he beat this thing down. Yeah. I felt disrespected. Yeah. But other than that, like, you get some of these football meatheads in here and you can't train for stuff like this. You know, it's just like, it is intense, obviously to each person's intensity, but it's very fast paced. The breathers are very limited. and you're doing a lot of different things. So you can't, specifically from a football standpoint, they don't train like that, and that's fine. They need to train for football specific training, but you get a meathead in here, more times than not, they're going to get effed up.
Yeah. So with you doing all this, and now, first of all, tell us about the locations you have.
Anderson. So we're at our downtown Anderson spot. We opened this one up in 2018, June 4th, 2018. We opened our second location in the West Village of Greenville in 2020. In May of 2020.
How did COVID affect that?
Boy, it punched us in the face. 2020, don't open a business in a global pandemic. That's where a group training, sweaty business. That's where me and Marcus we were 24, 25, and still thought we were still know-it-alls. Yeah, this is easy. Let's freaking open another one. We're making some money. We opened up in the pandemic, and we didn't lose any money. So I praise Jesus. We didn't make any money either, though. And it humbled us enough and made us adapt where 2021, where we're still, we're looking back, we're still in it. I think finally now, maybe out, I don't even know. They're going to create another of our strand in a week. Yeah. But in 21, we really started learning how to actually operate a business. And
other than just a gym.
Yeah, a gym, and started, I feel like you can either really focus on the product and not worry about the numbers, or you can really focus on the numbers and your product starts to suck. So you really need to find the sweet spot where you're obviously really focused on the product, the people, the customer service, but you still really got look at your P&L. And we started doing that a lot better in 21. And 21 was our best year. And decided, hey, we're making money. Our goal is to grow this thing. Kind of figured it out as far as what we thought at 21. Let's open another one. And I knew I always wanted to go back to Clemson because I think I'd be an idiot not to do it, with my football background. And a location opened up, and the developer was a Clemson guy, played punter back in the 80s. And the opportunity to go beside a nationally known sports bar that's growing, this is a no-brainer. And we have parking. So we opened Clemson up in April 1. Yeah, April 1, we opened up Clemson. It's the day on my honeymoon.
I remember following that.
Stressful. Yeah. And it was a nightmare to open it up.
Wow.
So we opened that one up April 1 of this year. And so that's 3. And then we are opening up our Malden location in hopefully April, May. So that'll be 4.
So doing this, and that kind of brings me to the next point, opening up a location while you're going on your honeymoon.
Stupid.
What have you learned from, you're handling, you have a million things on your plate. You have probably your phone can be blowing up at all days if you don't make it not. Has that gotten to you in your marriage, and have you found a way to work through it? Or tell me about that.
So that's one of the things I learned on my honeymoon. The first 2 days, I'm freaking on my phone the whole time because we're having to, the April 1st, we supposed to be grand opening day, and just a million things are happening. We didn't actually get the CO until lunch. So we had to call and cancel all these people in the morning because I was supposed to have the CO on the Friday, and I won't get into details, but just stupidity didn't allow us to get the CO until Monday afternoon.
What's a CO?
So certificate of occupancy. Right. So you can't have that before you open up. The city won't allow you to do it. You got to have it stamped on the wall. And I got married on the Saturday. We fly out for our honeymoon on Sunday. Friday, I get a call, hey, dude, you're not going to have the CO until Monday. I'm like, dude, we've already announced this to hundreds of thousands of people, I'm opening up. I don't care if I don't have the CO or not. And just, I'm on my freaking, like a dinner before our wedding, having to deal with that. And then Monday and Tuesday, we had to cancel all these people because we didn't get the CO. And the thing that I learned on my honeymoon, because I'm like pissing my wife off because I'm on my phone while she's just wants my attention, is like, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. You know, like those people that we canceled on, like we called every single one of them. They're still going to come back the next day. But in the moment, I'm like thinking the world's falling apart. And it really, and I still struggle with this because like if a problem happens, I think it's in the world and it just pisses me off and just thunder coming down. But that like moment and like week in my honeymoon would just like really challenge me to just, something happens, step back, and like, hey, does this really matter? Am I really gonna waste my time, energy, and allow it to piss me off? Or I'm just like, we'll figure it out. And I'm not great on it. I promise you I probably blew up yesterday on something stupid. So like, I don't say that to just like wise counsel. I'm just like, I'm working on this. But that's probably the biggest thing is just, it doesn't really matter. You know, specifically in like our opening disaster with the Clemson location, my wife told me that.
Nice.
After she probably cussed me out for being on my phone.
Yeah. I actually am not walking in your same shoes, but also walking different shoes where I have a lot going on. And this past weekend got away with some guys who were also spiritually and business minded. And were able to just uncharge for 3 days. Everybody had to share something. Everybody had to pour in. It was one of the best weekends of my life. One of the topics that brought up that I want to hear your advice on is people were questioning how much time am I spending chasing earthly success when like truly it's in a blink of an eye? Like, is it how worth it is it to try to buy 100 homes, try to have 100 gyms and do all this when that's like not our calling on earth is to have 100 gyms? But how does, like for you, here's my question for you. How does you having maybe 10 gyms in 2 years fit into your calling? And how are you walking like with God and what you're doing? And it's not just business or God, but how are you going into business with God, I guess?
So it's a good question. And I'm not great at it because I have to, it's a good cop-out answer. I like feel like I'm called to, like I know we have a good product. Like we do a lot of good things here and I feel really good about the product. Like I know into my core that we'll grow this across the country unless the world ends. And one of the ways that I think that growing the business, but also like advancing the kingdom alongside each other is like stewarding to the people we have on our team. And I'm not a great leader. Like I'm learning things every single day, but I feel like there's people that like on our team now and then on our team in the future, and also clients like are put here for a reason that either a relationship with me or like a relationship with or friendship with me or a friendship with someone else will like advance them as a leader and like them as a person, but also like while advancing the kingdom of God. You know, we've done like worship workouts here and we'll put all the music as freaking Hillsong. And I feel like a lot of businesses won't do that. And we will because I'm corporate. I'm HR, you know? So like, I don't think we'll ever be obviously as we grow, you'll have to like put like things in place. But I mean, me and Marcus own it. And you haven't met Marcus, but he is pretty much the same as me. And from like the worship workout that we've done, and then also just like a stewarding of our people and our clients are ways that I think that we can advance the kingdom while advancing the growth of the Junkyard, you know? And I don't know if that answers your question, but it's a challenge that I continue to battle every single day. Because, I mean, if I'm getting up at whatever time, by the time that I get up to I go to sleep, it's usually how can we make more money and like grow the business. So before I start with this stuff, I'm either going to a Waffle House or I'm going to Corner Bagel and I read my Bible. And I just try to tend the soil, you know, for whatever situation that may happen in the future. I'm just like continuing to like tend my spiritual soil. So when something happens, I'm ready for it, you know? Ready for the freaking, hey, give me the fruit, you know, whatever that may be. Like I am ready for whatever fruit you throw my way because I've been tending the soil like a mofo daily. So
words of wisdom right there. Tending the soil like a mofo. Probably Ben Boulware.
Put that on a t-shirt. Tending the soil like a mother effer.
I actually, kind of speaking of this, I think I might even have it in my pocket. Last night at dinner, I asked a dude what was on his ring. He was wearing a signet ring and it had a stamp on it. And he gave me this. Here. Yeah, it is. Has the word favor on it. And he was talking about it's something that God's been taking him down.
Real coin?
Yeah. I would like that back when you're done. So, yeah.
What is this?
It's an ounce of silver. Cool. But it's about the stamp. He said a lot of times people think that like walking with God, you receive favor when things go good. Oh, that way, we opened up a new gym. That was favor. But no, like you're walking in favor rather than just in the good moments, that's favor. So like favor is there just like air is there. And it's not saying that favor is financial success. Favor is marital success. But like you're walking in favor as a son of God rather than life's good now, there's favor. And so he actually just gave me this last night, and I'm going to be carrying around with me. Cool little side story. With that, when you're talking about working on your gifts and everything, and you said you're not always the strongest leader, which I actually am interested in, you being the face. You always have to look like you're the leader. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you always have to have face for everybody else, or their face would kind of crumble probably. So what are your gifts in leadership? Because being just a leader is a broad term. So what's your gifts in that?
So this is very funny because this is a God wink. So I'm a part of a men's group called Bourbon and Bible. A buddy of mine named Caleb, who played baseball at Clemson, coached at Furman, now he's just a businessman in the area, super cool guy, brought me this idea of creating this men's group where you get a bunch of just dudes with a glass of bourbon, one glass of bourbon, because you get 3 or 4, it obviously gets dangerous, but in a circle with real spiritual, in a circle with one glass of bourbon and talk about, a million different things specifically on faith. So we've been doing it over the past 6 months, and last night was my first time to lead it.
Wow.
And 2 of the things that I spoke on were probably some of the main things probably the main thing that I think I've done well in, and there's a million areas I got to get better at. But one of the areas that I think I've done well in is having a even level of humility and also like seeking out questions and answers. And from a leadership standpoint, I have a bunch of like wise counsel in my life and been super blessed in that area. Just my dad started his business in his late 20s. My mom has pretty much helped grow and run their business since they've been married. My aunt and uncle both own a business in Charleston that is not trash. This is a good business. So I had them when we started this, it's like, hey, how do I create an LLC? Like, what do I do? Some people have no Google, and I had people like that to help me out from like starting a business. And then from a spiritual standpoint, and then also like a business standpoint, I have 2 guys specifically that I meet with and ask questions almost every day. One of them is my best friend. He is a pastor at a church in town, and we talk every day. He's like 33 or 34, he's in his early 30s, married, 2 kids, so older and a lot more wise. And we're running a similar race. He's a little bit further ahead than I am in our race, and I consistently seek him out for advice. And he also, I've given him maybe authority is the word, given the authority, probably not authority, if he needs to cuss me out and punch me in the nuts because I'm being an idiot, he has full reign to do that. And he's done it plenty of times. Yeah. And then I also have a guy from a business standpoint that I'm meeting with tomorrow. And he is the CEO of a metal manufacturing company in town. Big business. And we meet once a month to go over personal goals and business goals. He puts up this big piece of white paper. And tomorrow he'll put up all my goals for November because we met too late in December. We usually meet the first week of the month. So he'll pull up all my November goals and tell me, hey, did I do them or did I not? And if I didn't, why the F did you not do them? So I have that wise counsel and the accountability in my life, and back onto the level of humility and seeking out answers. I think I've done a good job of admitting I don't know what the F I'm doing. I've learned a lot of stuff over the past couple of years, but I'm still learning, still growing, still admit that I am not perfect, and definitely maybe in my freshman year of football to also know it all. I know I'm not a know-it-all. I got a lot of stuff to learn. So having a not low level of humility, but an even level of humility, regardless if we open up more gyms or not, it's going to stay even, but also consistently pursuing people. Yeah. I think I've done a good job from a leadership standpoint on that, which allows me to lead and steward my people well. And I'm just creativity is selective theft, and things that I'm learning from these guys like Riley and Tim, my parents. Okay, well, that stuff works. It's working well for me. I'm gonna do it with someone else. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. Yeah. But
there's no need to when you have.
I know it works. I know the way that they've led me works. I'm gonna do it to someone else. So I literally spoke on that last night, and that's a thing. I am not perfect by any means. I have made a million mistakes and sinned countless times. So I have trouble. I can speak on business stuff and football with my eyes closed and my thumb up my butt, just because I've done it and I'm super comfortable in those two areas. The faith stuff, I'm running my race and am as consistent as I know how, but I think because I'm just not perfect in it, and I'm consistently learning things that I'm not as comfortable speaking in that sense. And I don't know, dude. That's leadership wise specifically. That's why I talked about the leadership stuff last night. I'm I can't really pull out a Bible and recite all these verses because I'm not there yet. I'm not a pastor, but I obviously will hear these verses that speak on humility and seeking out advice. But I'll still try to tailor it to the leadership stuff because I'm running my race. I might get off course every now and then, but I'm trying to stay the straight and narrow. But
what's cool is though that you have a platform that even your Waffle House visits, your men's groups, all these things, you're not claiming to have a perfect life, but you're influencing so many people whether you see it or not.
I'm driving up Waffle House's sales. Yeah, they gave me a freaking gold card. That's what you're doing. Yeah. They gave me a gold or black card.
But you have a cool platform and you're using it well.
That's my wife tells me all the time. So she is like a marketing director for a big like corporate company. So she manages all of these like social media influencers within this company. And
Go to Junkyard.
when I can afford her. Yeah, she and that's the goal. She is freaking older than me, a lot prettier, and a lot smarter than me. And I've told her, that's whenever I can, and she has hair. Well, I can't even imagine myself if I had hair right now. It'd be weird. I think I'm used to the bald stuff. But when we can afford her, we'll definitely hire her. But she consistently tells me that my social media is garbage. And I feel like I don't try to put on a front. I just post what I think is funny. But I don't post a lot. I was like, because I have a real job. Like, I'm not like a content creator. We have like actual daily work to get done. And like consistent problems and fires to put out at every location. Like, I don't have time to create content and do this cool hype video. I have to work. So my stories are stupid. Like, I'll just post the Waffle House. I love our dogs. I'll post our dogs a lot. She's like, your social media sucks. I'm like, I don't care. Unfollow me. Yeah. So,
but you still have to come home with me.
Yeah, you still gotta wake up beside me every morning. But yeah, football has been good to me. But yeah, social media now, I have this following, and I don't know what to do with it. Because I post my dogs and my chicken hash brown bowl at Waffle House most days.
Yeah. What's cool about that though is that it's real. I was talking with a guy the other day about different influencers, and actually we were talking about in the Airbnb space, because that's what I spend a lot of my time in. Yeah. And it's a lot of time it's the real guys that like, maybe your page isn't the greatest, but your stories are what's keeping people loop, hopefully. And they're raw. So I think it's cool. So keep running with that.
You get some people that are just like put on a front. I'm like, bro, I've met you in real life, or I've met her in real life. One, you don't look like that. Like you don't look like that in real life. And this persona that you put on for social, but we were in a group and you didn't say one word. Like, you ain't who people think you are. And I don't want to be that person, you know? So I would like to think, hopefully I'm prettier in person, but I'd give myself a hard 6 in social and in life too. But I'd like to think that my social media presence and me in the real world is hopefully consistent.
That's awesome.
You be the judge of that. Yeah. Y'all get in the car and can talk crap about me. Hopefully
off camera.
He's normal.
Yeah. All right, last thing before I wrap it up here is, what is next?
We've been an hour?
We've been way longer than an hour.
Longer?
Yeah.
Okay, almost 2.
Yeah.
Almost 2?
Yeah, and I'm skimming right now.
Well, I thought we'd been here like 15 minutes. That's weird.
I know.
I guess that's a good conversation.
Yeah. What's next for the Junkyard? So, two questions with that is, I know you said you want to take it national, and also if you want to scale it that big, obviously, well, I don't want to say this obviously, you and Marcus can't do each one slowly by yourself. If you want to, so like, what's next?
So, I think the threshold for us when we can finally start having those franchise conversations is after we get mauled and opened up. I think once we get mauled and opened up and can prove that it can make money as well, I think that'll give us a level of validity and proof of concept where we've done 4 very different markets. They've all made money. Then we can have the conversation, okay, let's see how we can actually scale this thing. After that, I don't know how to scale a business. I've only learned how to, I know how to run this. That's my goal in 23 is to create that little blue book where we have those conversations with whoever, hey, this is how you run it.
Yeah.
So I want to create that this year, but I want to continue to grow this as long as I'm happy. Because I've been in the space with football. When I got fired by Carolina and the 49ers, I was miserable, specifically in San Francisco. I am a Carolina boy through and through. So me living in San Jose, California by myself ain't it. So when I got fired there, I'm like, this sucks. Like, this is not my football dream. I had my time. Let's go on to the plan B. So I had a tryout with like Jacksonville, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, and went into each of those like, I'm the try-hard white guy, so I've got to have good high effort. Now he's the high effort energy guy, the one you want in the locker room. That's what I am. And I went into those essential interviews, tryouts, and did not try. Was just weak, like loafed, because I was so not happy. I was like, I don't want to live in freaking Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm sorry. I don't want to live in freaking Pittsburgh by myself on P Squad. And that's when I made them. I said, I just want to be happy. And when I stopped playing or stopped trying to make it next level, I was like, oh, I'm home. I'm around my family. And now with business, I can kind of control my own destiny. You know, there's a lot of things that, like with business that I can't control, but for the most part, like I can control the people we bring on, the product we have, our customer service. Can't control the economy, but like in-house, we're doing it. Like I was at Waffle House with my brother 2 weeks ago, and I was like, dude, like we're doing good, but I was like, I want us to continue to do even more numbers. And I'm like, I don't know what we can do differently. Like, I feel like people-wise, product, marketing, like I feel like it's pretty elite. So I know with this, I can control my own destiny. With football, I couldn't. You know, in San Francisco, I got fired because they needed to bring on an offensive lineman, and I'm just the last guy. So, you know, like regardless if I'm doing my job or not, I'm the last in the totem pole. I walked in, freaking key card at work. Sorry, buddy, we're letting you go. We really need to bring on an offensive lineman to fill up a hole there. I can't control that. So that was tough for me because I like to control my own destiny and make my own decisions. So with this, I can do that. And as we grow, I want to continue to do that as long as I'm happy. When I'm not, I'm freaking say sayonara, moving to freaking Mexico.
Life's too short to do something you don't want to do.
But I don't plan on that happening anytime soon. I love it. Yeah. Like I freaking, just like the daily hustle and bustle and grind of small business, it's fun, dude. That's a game. You know, like
it's a game.
It's such a game, and I wish there was just like a magic. I was talking to my little sister who runs our business, so she's like our CFO. Me and Marcus are the face. She runs it. I was talking to her last week, and I was like, "This is such a game. I wish there was the thing. Like, what's that one little pill that we need to take that would just set us off?" And she's like, "It ain't out there, buddy. It's just like the consistent. It's a consistent like tending the soil." Yeah. You know, like from a spiritual standpoint, you have to do the same thing with business. And I love it. Our team's great. I love the workout. Like I smoke what I sell. This is all I'm doing right now. We're starting a challenge in January where it's like 66 days of movement, like drinking a half gallon of water, quiet time, stretching. That's all I'm going to do. Nice. So like the product and the programming is good. Like it's a good product. So I smoke what I sell. And I'm just going to continue to do it. And we get Malden opened up. We've had some people that, I think I just effed up the mic. Oh well. We've had some people over the past couple months like want to come in and invest. And I've talked about, I actually have a call at 4:30 from a person in Charleston that wants to have those conversations. So like we're getting into those conversations. And I think after Malden, that's when we'll hopefully go that route.
Well, what kind of stinks right now, I wanted to hear about your Ironman 100 miler and all that jazz, but we are... We got
a 410 coming in 30 minutes. So I had nothing else to do.
How about this? Give me the short rundown on, which was harder first, Ironman or 100 miler?
100 miler. Whole different galaxy of hurt.
And you weren't built to run a 100 miler.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Dude, I ran that race at 240. And I was the only person there at 240. Every single person out there was cross country, 5'7", $120. And like the Ironman in that season was very tough because that's like the hardest thing I've done. But I remember so I did the Ironman in 12 and a half hours in Florida. And I remember being at the 12 and a half hour mark in the race, and I was like at 45 miles, 50 miles. I'm like, I'm halfway.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was bad. The training for a 100 miler is easier. It's a lot more time consuming. So you think of like anaerobic and aerobic training. This is anaerobic. Ironman stuff is anaerobic. It's just like consistent up and down heart rate where you'll blow your heart up to 190 and then bring it back down. You know, triathlon training in this is different, but like from just an anaerobic standpoint, this is what both of those are. The ultra stuff is all aerobic. So a freaking consistent heart rate at 145 for 4 hours. And you can argue about which one's best. I don't care. But from a time standpoint, the 100 miler took so much time. Because if a 10 miler would have took me whatever time last year when I'm doing triathlon, it triple it for 100 miler. Because you got to keep your heart rate so much lower. And I mean, time is limited. And I do not have a lot of it. So if I got to freaking do a 10 mile and I got to carve out 17 hours to do so, it's hard, dude. Like owning a business, being married, building our house, opening a third location. And I knew that I was like, if I can do a 100 miler while getting married, opening a third location, building a home, I can do a lot of things, you know? So the time and the training wasn't as difficult with the 100 miler, but it's so much more time consuming. But race wise, bro, I mean, a whole, not even in the same galaxy of pain. It was, we had 5 20-mile loops. First loop is easy. I've done plenty of 20 milers. Second loop, still like just the energy of being at the race helped out. I can get through 20 to 40, 40 to 60. I needed music. So the first 40 miles I did with no music. I'm like, all right, now I'm getting a little tired. I need like a podcast or something. Pull out my phone, and I didn't freaking download the Spotify playlist, and I'm in the desert, so there's no service. So I had to do 60 miles with no music.
Wow.
Imagine having to do a 5 miler with no music. I had to do 60. So 40 to 60 was tough because I was really pissed off because I was like, dude, I need this right now. And so I started fighting some demons, 40 to 60. 60 to 80, I finally got music, but it was pitch black. It's like 2 a.m. I don't really remember a lot of 60 to 80.
Pain cave.
Yeah. And then 80 to 100 was just a different beast. You're a full day into running. So it took me 27 hours. So by mile 80, 21 hours into the race and I've ran for almost a whole day. And I pretty much walked the last 20 miles. The last 5 miles, I averaged a 30-minute pace. You can walk faster than that. I was walking in slow motion. I was running. I was trying to run. I was running in slow motion. And at mile 99, I was like, dude, if they just said, surprise, surprise, mother effer, we're doing 101, I would have made it. Like 100 is what I got. 100 is my peak fitness. And as of right now, I have no desire to ever do it again. I was sleep deprived. I fell asleep. My wife and dad had to carry me to the car. I fell asleep immediately. I was in a wheelchair for like 3 days.
How long did it take for you to get back to normal?
Probably 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago or 2 weeks after?
2 weeks ago. It took me a minimum month and a half. I was dealing with a hamstring issue for a while, but I worked out. Like we got back in town like Monday morning. I did a Saturday. I didn't work out all that week. I did a Saturday class the following, like 6 days later, and I couldn't make it through. My hamstring was tore up. My knees were so sore. Took another week off and then started working out again. And over the past probably month, I have dealt with it, just like the back of my knees been bothering me because of the race. But the past 2 weeks has finally felt like I feel perfect. I started working out with him like 2 weeks after, but it took a minute. It's just different.
What was your average BPM on that?
I think it was like 145.
So you kept it pretty low.
Mm-hmm. So it worked. Yeah, the training worked. I was nervous going into the race because I don't think I wasn't as prepared as I should have been.
Physically or mentally?
Physically. Yeah, mentally, I'm like, I can go in dark places and be fine. Ironman, I was just bought in and was so prepared, and that affected, like, I was a terrible husband because I'm so bought in on this, and learned a lot of lessons last year where I tried to balance it a lot better from a faith standpoint, then my marriage, then everything else. So I didn't prepare as much as I should have for this race. So did it, but I think if I would have prepared more, like my goal was to get it done under 24 hours. I obviously didn't do that, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Like, I really did it. If I would have done it in 23:59 and 27:20, we're still gonna be here today. Yeah. You know, so like it really didn't matter, but I left a little bit of room for improvement in training just because I was trying to balance everything else in my life and not become a turd like I did in 21. But yeah, as of right now, I have no intentions of doing that again. Not really like intrigued by triathlon right now. I just want to do our classes. I haven't been able to do our classes a lot over the past 4 months because the training with the running was taking forever. Yeah. And I had to stop doing classes, and I love our workouts. Like, they work, they're fun, it's loud, it's good energy. So I just plan on we'll do this challenge. Hopefully, freaking get ripped up, because I'm fat right now. I don't care. I'm okay with being fat, but I don't need to be 250. You know, I'm fat happy right now. I need to be like 220, and these mugs build muscle and burn fat. So I'm excited to get back into this, and who knows what will happen, but 100 miler is different.
Yeah. Speaking of Ironmans, do you know Nick Bear?
Yeah, I met him. So I was one of their ambassadors last year, and me and Marcus, so I got into it, like, obviously, I think influencers are freaking nerds and stupid, but I started watching his YouTube videos, and I was like, this dude looks like a bro. He started his own business and is doing this. I'm like, if this mug can do it, I definitely can do it. So that's why I got into triathlon, because he was in that season of his life. And like 2 months later, after I've already signed up for this Ironman, they opened up this ambassador program. I'm like, he looks cool. Their supplements look pretty good. I want free stuff. So I signed up and I got in on their ambassador program, and hopped on a call with Adam Klink, and who like runs their ambassador deal, and started posting about it last year. And I was using the stuff, and they paid their ambassadors, and they did this ambassador weekend. It would have been in October of last year. With freaking all the ambassadors fly out to their HQ and essentially have a weekend out there. And me and Marcus talked to Nick, and like, super normal guy. You can tell that he has a good company because everyone there seems super normal. Like, they weren't freaking corporate nerds and like standoffish. Everyone was like super bro type and with just good vibes. So me and Marcus talked to him about 30 minutes about just like business stuff, and it was cool. Was open to have a conversation with us. Nice. So, yeah, we DM back and forth like once a month, a lot when I was doing the 100, because he's done 2 or 3 now, and he's 220. Yeah, that's different. That's I'm not. The Javelina was a lot flatter. It wasn't a desert, which adds a level of difficulty, but it's not Leadville. level, like, that's a different beast. So I'm not, him doing that for his first one is dumb. That's crazy. But we follow each other, message back and forth, super normal guy. Nice. And yeah, cool.
One day I'll do him on the podcast.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
Or me and you will go out there and hop on their little deal.
We'll do it. Well, anyways, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciated this. It was an honor to do this. It was a good conversation. But yeah, appreciate you coming on here, and we'll wrap it out. And yeah, appreciate it.
Cool.